Dick Grob.
I thought you were going to have somebody important up here.
We tried to, but we couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford it.
Anyway, Dick Grob, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I think we have some great 3 days, don't we? Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, certainly.
I'll tell you, that music last night is as close as you're going to ever come to a real Elvis concert.
You think so? Yeah, but
I've been to a lot of them, and that was close, let me tell you.
It's good. Why? But the audience, they are 80% of the show.
Who's the other 20%? Why isn't the audience 100%?
I'm close to 100%.
I'm sorry, understand your arithmetic, but
Anyway, we need to talk a little bit Elvis. We have to talk a lot about Elvis. Dick, tell a little bit about your background and how Elvis found you, or you found him.
no.
Okay, I have another.
I was at the time that I met Elvis in May 1st of 1967. I was a policeman in Palm Springs, California. I had been first a policeman in Toledo, Ohio, a big city, and moved to California because I didn't like shoveling snow.
Okay.
And in Palm Springs, the desert, you don't shovel snow. If it does snow, it melts very quickly. So I was working, and it was a day off, and my lieutenant asked me if I would go out and keep people away from a certain house. And I said, well, why? He said, well, Elvis Presley is going to get married in Las Vegas, and he's coming here for his honeymoon. I said, so what? Why? Well, he said, do it. So I took my day off, and I went and got a police car, got in a uniform, went out there and sat in the hot heat. It was 105 degrees that day. And our city fathers didn't think it was important to have air conditioning in the cars. So you're sitting in this car sweating, and here comes this guy down the front steps of this house, and he walks over to the car, and I know it's Elvis because I'm not dumb, but I'm not a big fan of Elvis's. And he sticks his hand in the window and he says, I'm Elvis Presley. And I thought, this guy's gotta be an idiot. He doesn't think I know who the hell he is. And he said, I'll bet you'd like a glass of lemonade. And he hands me a glass of lemonade through the thing. And I thought, wait a minute. I'm a cop. I'm sweating here, and this guy brings me a glass of lemonade without any ice cubes in it? This guy is crazy. So he says, can I sit in the car with you? I said, come on, get in. So we sat there and we're talking about police work. And I had never met Elvis Presley before, but I knew he was a singer, and he had done some good songs. I guess he was very popular. I didn't know, I wasn't impressed with Elvis Presley. I was better known than Arnold Palmer, the golfer from Palm Springs, and stuff like that. And we sat there and talked about it. And I learned then started to learn then that Elvis was a big fan of policemen. And later on, because the policeman, it doesn't matter whether you're a policeman in Randers, in Copenhagen, in Berlin, London, New York City, policemen are all a brotherhood. And it doesn't matter where you're at, because you all face the same thing. And I learned later that Elvis, thankfully, wanted to be a policeman but never made it, because we wouldn't have all the music that we have from this fine gentleman. And Elvis was too kind. He'd have made a bad cop. He didn't want to arrest anybody. He'd let him go. Anyway, we sat there and talked for about an hour and a half, and he finally started telling me about getting married to his wife. in Las Vegas, Priscilla, and I said, well, Elvis, and he said, maybe I'd better go inside. I said, Elvis, you know, you can get quickie weddings in Las Vegas. They also have fat divorces in Las Vegas. And yeah, you probably ought to go inside. So he got out of the car, walked up, and he said, as he was leaving, anytime you want some more lemonade, come into the house and get some. And I'm thinking, maybe I can get some ice cubes or something like that. So I walk up a little later on to the back of the house and to go to the kitchen, where I knew it was. He runs over and locks the door. And I'm thinking, what now? You know? And he said, come around to the front door. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know, this is getting to be too. Now I got to walk back down the hill, up the steps to the front door. Elvis opens the front door. When I get there, takes me in, and I spend an hour going around being introduced to everybody in the house, including Priscilla's mother and father, you know, all the guys, everything. And as we're ready to leave, Elvis says, any friend of mine comes through the front door. And I thought, obviously I'm a friend of his. I'm not sure I want to be a friend of his, but because I think this guy's nuts. But, you know, that's how I met Elvis, and it started something that went on for over 10 years. Okay, thanks much, I'm gone.
No, so what happened next? You met him, and how did it all come around?
Well, I met him, and when he'd come into town, he was living in Los Angeles at the time. He'd come into town and stay at different places, and he'd like to shoot. And I happened to be the weapons expert for the police department and head of the SWAT team and the bomb expert, because I guess I like to hear things go boom. But, you know, not sure Elvis would have appreciated that, but I was happy. And he'd come in town, and I'd get a call to go meet with him and take him out and shoot different targets at the range out there. I wasn't real happy about doing that, but at least I did it on my work days instead of my off days. And I set it up the first time. The chief called me and said, would I do this? And I told the chief no, because I'm planting petunias in my front garden around here. The chief wasn't real happy about that answer, but I was planting petunias. So I said, I'll do it the next day, and tell them to be out there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I knew they weren't going to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, I get into the station, and there's Elvis, Joe Esposito, Red, and Sonny, all sitting there waiting to go shooting at my range. So I take him out to the range, and we get out there, and I make Elvis said, can I ride in the Jeep with you? I drive him right down through the center of town. I wasn't interested, you know. Other people, I guess, were hooting and hollering when they saw him, but it's like, I thought, something that I've done, just laughing and hollering and screaming for me. I didn't know any better. So I get him out to the range, and I said, guys, understand something. This is my range. I'm God on this. You will do what I say for you to do, or we leave right away. And Elvis, I think he kind of liked somebody that wasn't bending down to him, or, you know. And we did go through and shoot several things, and they did want to shoot the competition that police officers shoot. So we get done at the end, and we go up to count the targets, and I go first to Red West. And Red is an ex-military man and a Marine, and out of 60 shots, he happens to have about 48, 50 holes on the target. And we're shooting from not only up close, but from 60 yards back, which with a pistol is you gotta be pretty good. Sonny's got a little, not quite as good as Red's, maybe about 35, 38, holes in a target. Get to Elvis, and I can count on 2 hands the holes in a target. And they walk over to my target, and you could cover it with a coffee cup right in the center. And Elvis said, maybe I got the wrong bodyguards. And I thought to myself, that's a way to win friends and influence people, man.
And then?
Well, then we get to the point where Elvis now starts asking me to go to work for him. And I said, no, I don't want to go to work for you. I want to pay you real good. I said, I like what I'm doing. I have a good job with the police department. I like it. And now he keeps talking to me about this. And finally he says, well, would you come and do some special things for me? I said, well, Elvis, I'd like to do that. You know, he said, I'm having a New Year's Eve party and I want somebody to be my personal bodyguard. I said, in Memphis? He said, yeah, that's where I'm going to have the New Year's Eve party. I said, okay, how do I get to Memphis? Oh, we'll take care of that. I'll see that you have tickets. I said, well, Elvis, I got to have permission from my chief to do this. He said, okay, I'll get you the permission. The next day, I get into the station at 8 o'clock in the morning. Elvis is sitting there waiting for the chief to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, this is twice I've seen this guy up before noon. You know, I've heard he never got up. He goes in and talks with the chief, and the chief was there 45 minutes, comes out, gives me the thumbs up, walks out the front door. About 15 minutes later, 40 minutes later, I get a call to go to the chief's office. Now, no policeman ever wants to go to the chief's office in the first thing in the damn morning. I'm sorry, you know. The chief gives me the rules and regulations, and that started me doing special events for Elvis. And he kept continuing to ask me to go to work for him, and especially when he started doing tours again. And I was working for him for every one of his tours, and eventually even moved to Memphis and was responsible for all his personal security and bodyguard work, and for his family and his father and his daughter and his planes and everything else. You know, it was a hell of a job.
When Stump was here earlier, he mentioned it was like being with a family, traveling with all the guys, the band, the crew, even with you. How do you see
Sam's a big liar.
No, Stump. It was not Sam, it was Stump. But anyway, how was it to tour with Elvis? Was that a lot of, you had to pay a lot of attention? Was that a lot of it?
You know, Elvis was like everybody else in the first place. He put his pants on one leg at a time.
Okay.
It wasn't any pedestal up here. At least not with most of the guys. Yeah, there were some that would try to boost him up because they wanted something, you know. And Elvis usually knew who those people were, and he'd get mad at them or something, or others. He'd just, yeah, shut up, I'll buy you the damn car. You know, just, he was that kind of person. But yeah, it was very, very close, very tight-knit group. You knew each other, you knew their families, you knew everything about them, you know. And Sam and I worked together because we were both police officers in different locations, but we understood each other and we could communicate without talking to each other as to what was going to happen and what we were going to do. And back then, we didn't have cell phones. You talked on a regular time, so you had to carry a pocket full of quarters to make the telephones work, and long distance from city. And then you go to Vernon to try to get the quarter money back, And Vernon wanted receipts. You know, it's like, I lost more quarters than I've done in the slot machines in Vegas for in a slot machine. But that was life, and Elvis would play games with security. Elvis was a great game player, and he'd try to trip you up. You know, we'd be together, and he'd tell Sam and me, you know, get everybody together because we're going to go to Nashville tomorrow to record. So we'd get everything set up with the pilots and the crew, the plane and everything, and we'd take off for 2 days of recording in Nashville. And we'd get airborne in the Lisa Marie, Elvis's aircraft, and be out about 30 minutes from Memphis, and Elvis would say, now let's go to Las Vegas. Well, now we've got all this thing set up in Nashville with policemen and security at different hotels and stuff, and now he wants to go to Las Vegas, which is 2,000 miles the other direction. And it's like, okay, where do we start? Do we shut Nashville down and start Vegas, or the other way around? So we finally get it going, and you don't have a phone, so you got to talk by the telephone on the airplane. And voices are going in and out, you know, and all of a sudden you're flying over Little Rock, Arkansas, and you got a good connection, and then it's gone until you reach Albuquerque, New Mexico. You know, so when you get to Hilton, and whoever's in the suite, they kick them out so Elvis can have the suite. That was one of the rules that was there. And Elvis, we finally get to the suite there at the top of the Hilton Hotel. And he's there for about 2 hours, and it's because he's got a new girlfriend with him that he wants to show Vegas to. Why, I don't know, but you know, it's impressing, you know, lights are going on and off in Vegas and all that. And he's there for about 2 hours, and he said, Dick, I want to go to Palm Springs. So now we got to get the pilot back out, get the airplane fueled up, and go to Palm Springs, which is about an hour flight. And we're there for 2 weeks. Now, somewhere in the thing, you know, you got to plan, geez, 2 weeks. You got to have clean underwear somewhere. I'm sorry, but I'm going out and getting clean underwear, you know. But he would do things just like that. I think he tried to test Sam and me on some things. But he thought he could play with us. He was wrong. We played with him. Next time he pulled that, I said, we can't fly because we got an oil leak in the number 3 engine. He said, oh, okay. So we stayed home. You had to have fun with Elvis, let me tell you.
Yeah. Was there any serious matters doing security for Elvis? Was there ever anything going on where you really thought, how are we going to handle this? Oh, I know you would handle it, but that it worried you a little bit.
If I told you that, I'd have to kill you.
This is going to be a short interview.
No, we did have some serious problems. Some of them were really serious, and some of them were kind of problematic serious. We would be on a tour, and we'd get a call because the connections Sam and I had with various police departments, especially in what they called an intelligence detail. You knew when certain crooks or certain people were going to show up, and we had done. We were going to do New Year's Eve at Pontiac, Michigan, in the Pontiac Stadium, and just before that, and this is the thing I just never could understand. A woman who was married and had 3 kids decided she didn't like her husband anymore. She was going to be Elvis's next girlfriend. And she came to, you know, somebody said, yeah, you know, well, why isn't women going to do this, you know? She left her husband, drove down to Memphis, Tennessee, parked out in front of Graceland, and stayed there. For it was like 3 weeks that she was gone. And her husband would finally tracked her down. And luckily some of the people that hung around the gates in Memphis that we knew well were kind enough to take her to their apartments or houses so she could take a shower. Because, let me tell you, if you live in a car for 3 weeks, you're gonna be ripe. You know, and anyway, we found out that this guy who was very unhappy with his wife leaving him blamed Elvis. And he was going around talking that he was going to do Elvis in. And he comes up with a ticket for that New Year's Eve show. And the police up there had an undercover guy watching this guy, so we knew exactly, and they were keeping me informed. And the night of the show, he goes to the local bar and has a couple of drinks, a couple of toddies, you know, to kind of build up his energy a little bit, goes to the stadium, drives in, parks his car, goes inside the door with his ticket, and we finally decided to nail him right inside the door. And they found a machete down his pant leg like that. And I'm thinking maybe he shouldn't have put that machete there because he could have hurt himself very seriously and his wife's never coming back to him. We did have another, this is one of the problematic things. We were at on tour, and the colonel, I was traveling ahead that particular day because we were doing 2 jumps. We were leaving where we were playing, going to play an afternoon performance, and then go on to the next city. So I went with the colonel in the afternoon performance city, and he calls me over and he said, Dick, he said, and he didn't call me Dick. Everybody was Mr. Grob or Mr. Thompson and things with the colonel. He never called you by your first name. So he's got this police captain over there. And he says, Mr. Grob? So I go over and I said, yes, sir. He said, the police captain here tells me that, you know, we've hired 40 policemen to work the detail today. He said, but he needs to bring in another 40 policemen because they just got an anonymous bomb threat. He said, Mr. Grob, it's your call. I said, Colonel, I said, Elvis is just about ready to leave the city that we were at before. I said, but, you know, I can't take any chance that there is a bomb here, and maybe these guys can't find it, so I can't bring Elvis in here. I'm going to go call right now and route him right on to the next city that we'll just have to cancel this performance. And the Colonel said, are you sure, Mr. Grob? I said, Colonel, you know I've got to look out for Elvis's safety, right? I said, I'd suggest you have the captain, when the people all get in here, get up on stage and tell them that there's no show, that it's canceled because of this possible bomb threat. And all of a sudden the captain is saying, wait a minute, you know, he said, maybe we need to check out and see whether maybe we don't need 40 more officers here, which the colonel wasn't going to pay for because he knew it was being put on, you know, to hire more policemen. And this guy didn't want to get up there and make that statement to all the people that his police department couldn't bring Elvis into town. And the colonel would put you in situations like that, and you just went along with because you instantly knew what was happening. So that was a performance problem. Huh?
How was your relationship with the Colonel? How was your relationship with the Colonel?
I had a good relationship with the Colonel. We had only one big problem that happened between us. And after that got resolved, there was never a problem between us. And we were leaving. Sam and I was right after the other guys got terminated, and Sam was working full time with us. And Sam and I were in the same city with Elvis, and we were going on because this was another double jump. We were going on to the next city, and then I was getting off at that next city, so I'd have everything ready when Elvis came in, and Sam was going on to the third city. And Elvis had told me the night before to go and see Al DeVorn, who was the money man, because they always they'd pick up the money from the show, and they'd carry it in a brown paper bag while we're walking around. You know, there'd be $100,000, $200,000 in this brown paper bag. So I went and I got $10,000 in cash because Elvis wanted to buy somebody something or other, and I had it in my briefcase. Well, all of a sudden, Sam and I are down meeting the Colonel and his group at 7 o'clock in the morning in the cafeteria. We're going to have a cup of coffee, eat some breakfast. And the Colonel said, "Where's your luggage?" I said, "What time are we leaving?" He said, "It's 7:15 now. We're going to leave at 7:45. So I leave my briefcase down there with the 10,000, because these guys are all sitting there. And Sam and I run upstairs, pack our bags, bring them down and get them set out in the hall so Elvis's group, David Stanley and Rick and those people, can load it on a plane. We'll catch up with it later. Come back downstairs, and the Colonel's out loading the car. Everybody's working things. Colonel's standing there watching. I don't see my briefcase. And I said to George Parkhill, who was with the Colonel, I said, "Where's my briefcase?" He said, "It's in the coffee shop." I said, "What? Why didn't you take?" He said, "The Colonel said it's not our job to move your luggage." And I'm thinking, now how do I go up and tell Elvis I just lost $10,000 that he's responsible? So I go in, and luckily that my briefcase is still down there at the bottom of the table. And George Parkhill had said, he tried to pick it up, and the Colonel said, "Leave it." Now I'm upset with the Colonel and his money. I take it out, put my briefcase in the car. Sam put his briefcase in the car. We get to the airport to get on the plane. I take my briefcase off and put it on the plane. I've moved my baggage. Sam takes his off. The rest of the baggage isn't ours to move. Colonel had made it very responsible. You are responsible for your baggage. We get to the next city and start unloading. I take my briefcase off, Sam takes his off. I walk over and lean on the wing of the aircraft and let the Colonel's crew take theirs off. The Colonel comes marching over and he said, "Dick," he said, "Mr. Grob, you understand, we work together here.